There we go. There he is. Hey there, Mist. Oh, yeah, I'm on. Good. I had to check that my mic was on because I just got everything set up and I was like, oh no. I'm going to temporarily disconnect the AC. There we go. Because I'm cold. Aw, thanks for the little cheer, Numbat. Oh, I checked the hype train settings, you guys. So it was set to it only allows a hype train every once in a while. So it was set to 2 hours, which is apparently standard, but I set it down to 1 hour, which is the least a hype train can be. So it'll only allow us one hype train every hour. It is silly this way. So let's see here. Glasses. Good afternoon. Yeah, I gotta work on. I'm so close. Like, I got the rest of her black done on the boots and everything. So it's all shiny and cool and all. Got that done last night, and I really need to get this one in the pipe. Like, I really need to get it done, get paid, you know. So I figured I would hang out with y'all. Hi, Cybstorm. Hey, Liquid Nebula. And I got Nightbot installed, and I made commands, but now David tells me they are not functional, so I'm very sad. It's easy. Easy Numbat. Easy hype train. Easy hype train. I believe in easy hype trains when you're starting out. maybe if I was like some amazing streamer that got like, you know, like 1,000 views or something every time I streamed, I would make it harder to hype train because then I could see how it could get annoying. Yeah, otherwise, let's see here. I want to get that thing taken care of, but I'm not sure I want it. I don't want that silver NMM. So we'll do her feet. I need to work on the sword on this side, which is annoying because it's the underside of the sword, so it's always annoying. Hey, Trash, how's it going? But yeah, I put Nightbot on, but I'm not certain. I was working on. You don't. Once you put Nightbot on, you should be. Are you able to stream from a different computer and still have Nightbot working? Because I wondered that after the fact. Hey there. Hey, Crowley. He's such a cute corgi face. Oh, cool. Oh, sweet, Mist. Fantastic. Yeah, they are. They should be printable quality. I saved them as high quality, so. Yeah, we're just gonna do this. All right, let me get my. I need a shadow. Must has shadow for my NMMs. And I think I'm gonna use, yeah. Yeah, I thought he lived in a cloud, but then David was not, like, seeing anything come up with my commands that I set up yesterday. Oh, awesome. Thanks for the sub, Liquid Nebula. Ooh, I got it. We got an emote. Thanks to the, oh, gift. Gifts. Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you for the gifted sub, Numbat. How do I get Nightbot to join the stream? I do not know if did I have to invite Nightbot? I know nothing about this stuff. I was all happy that I got him set up, and then I didn't even tell him I was streaming. Well, dang, Nightbot's gonna, like, be very sad about that. Hey, Declareman, we're currently troubleshooting Anne's lack of streaming knowledge. So how do now I know I have to invite Nightbot into the stream. Maybe it's in stream settings. Looking. No, not seeing it there. Nightbot setup. Alright, well. Click on the dashboard, click the join.
Yeah.
So first I have to go to the Nightbot homepage. I see. Well, I don't want to screw up the stream by, like, waiting, but I will definitely look this up, and next time I will be ready. Because yeah, I don't want to get totally distracted setting up Nightbot when I'm trying to get actual work done. Nightbot setup page. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. I guess I could maybe I can get it. Hold on. Login. I'm gonna log in with my Twitch because that's what I was doing. Got it. Got dashboard. Join channel. Okay, I had to switch channel and type mod Nightbot. Got it. Alright. Got it. On it. Yay! Okay. So that at least, I at least have a Nightbot now. Good. And now you should be able to exclamation point commands.
He's still not showing up in the chat.
He's not?
As users.
But I added him. Maybe he's insulted that I forgot. There he is.
Talking.
Yay, good. Yay, Nightbot is among us. Sweet, sweet. Yay, he's there. And now you can see that I set up some commands. I set up a Patreon. I set up a pal. It's a /pal because nobody remembers how to spell palette. So it's a /pal for the palette link. And it should have like a link to Cheap Joe's and then brushes. I just give a general link to Dick Blick Kolinsky Stables. Because you can find various brushes on there. And, yeah, so yay, he works. Well, good, Numbat. Yeah, I mean, it's fun. I kind of like streaming. I really do. But yeah, so let's see here. What are we on? I need to remember the silly purity seal, too. It's just sitting there staring at me, base coated. But yeah. Yay! Good, my brushes command works! Hey, Xandercles. Sup? We have 23 people. That's very nice. That's a nice number. I like that. Good afternoon, Daffodweir. How's it going? Alrighty, we're just gonna... I'm annoyed about this. So I'm gonna use a wash, even though I never use washes. Oh, and I'm using way too small of a brush. What am I doing with myself? Man. It's not Anne's Patreon. It should be just exclamation point Patreon on here, math file. Yeah, so last time I looked, so my artist who's working on my emotes should hypothetically get emotes to me at the end of today. And we may already have another emote slot opened up, in which case, Trash, I may email you. Because I would like kind of the painting big emote that we did for the Reaper channel. I'd kind of like that one. And I had some questions for you on if you could make it different colors even. Also, Planer might need a dragon-winged spoon for my channel. Boy, anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We need to make sure that we've got the slots open before we can make a ton of crazy emotes for the channel. I need some brush-on sealer. Where are you, brush-on sealer? I'm making a wash. Sometimes even I commission work, if I want something fast, like to just bring out the details on something silly like the thing she's standing on, I'm just going to throw a quick wash on it. So I'm using Carbon Gray, which is my favorite dark gray. And I am finishing up my PDF on grays for the Patreon. So those of you who are on there will get my $5 PDF saying, you know, why Carbon Gray is awesome. Although I did not include washes in there. It should be obvious as it is a dark gray. And now I'm thinning it down. Oh, quit trolling my Nightbot.
I'm not trolling your Nightbot.
You totally are.
I thought you were going to make me a moderator.
Oh, did you want to be one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Hold on. Well, I can't do that until I need to go over to my Twitch dashboard for that, my love. So you're going to have to wait to be a mod. And then you have to choose some sort of kitchen implement to be your mod thing to smack people with. Planer already has spoons, so you're out of luck there. I think you should have the garlic press or something. That sounds really unpleasant. To be garlic pressed, that would be bad. All right, I'm just throwing a wash on this sucker, guys. Like, I'm annoyed. Anyway, the base coat for the cement here is also the Carbon Gray, which is a lovely charcoal gray and is very good for this sort of thing. And then I can throw colors into it to make it too monochrome. That's the thing, like, people do is they'll throw a dark gray over a regular gray, and then they'll be like, yay! But in reality, you really want some other colors in there to make it look more interesting. Now, this is a snowy base. It's going to be a snowy base. So I will probably throw some blue in there just to cool it down. Maybe even some purple. Maybe even some black indigo. Actually, that's probably what I really want to do, is throw some black indigo shadows on this. If I'd gone over the top of it with black indigo first, it would be way too purple. But as it is, this is not too bad. I almost feel like I need some light on this subject. Yeah, I'll actually use my camera light today. Why not? And this little cord, the power cord over here, is going to be red. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I'm going to have to touch up the underside of her cape here anyway, because I have to do some NMM embroidery on it today. Just a little line. It's since I'm copying the artwork on the box, I realized that there is actually a tiny gold NMM border. You can see the little line there. So I don't think they even bothered to highlight or shade it on the actual like studio model, but I'm not going to cheap out like that. The whisk! Yes, you need a whisk! Potato masher. Meat tenderizer. The whisk is, however, an excellent idea. I firmly approve of the whisk. Alright, and I want that pipe to be gold because it is in the regular artwork. Or bronze. We'll do a bronze pipe. But yeah, remind me, hon. Just remind me. Because I had just... You told me that, I think, when I wasn't on the Twitch dashboard, and then I forgot when I was on the Twitch dashboard. So we'll try to remember. And then you have to talk to Trashorama, who is the most awesome emote maker in the world, into making you a battle whisk or something. I don't know. In reality, you can have whatever mod symbol you want, as long as we have an emote slot for it. And just keep these people under control. I know they're so unruly. So otherwise, I'm very pleased with this model. I'm pleased with how she looks. Obviously, we still need to do silver NMM here. We need some silver NMM there. I'm just trying to get the base blocked in because it's been annoying me how unfinished it looks, because it is unfinished. So I shouldn't be surprised that it looks that way. And I also missed a spot. I can see it from here, and that's going to annoy me too. Otherwise, though, it's a pretty good Tuesday. How are y'all doing? I know a lot of you are getting closer to supper time and the end of your work days, which is always good. But yeah, I actually want to get this commission done because I'm also have been working on a Reaper commission. Not for Reaper, but a Reaper model that one of our happy fellow patrons commissioned. So I want to get that done because I also have some Dark Sword stuff popping up now. So I want to make sure that I'm moving forward on commissions. It's easy when you're doing Patreon and everything else and streaming to lose track of all the things on your plate. All right, now the nice thing about making this pipe down here kind of a bronze is that it's going to be nice. It'll let me take these gold colors and move them around the piece, because otherwise we've got a very cold base setting up down here. And she has a lot of warm colors on her. So I want to make sure... This also lets me put like maybe some corrosion and stuff on there. It's not quite all dry down here yet, so I'm just blocking that in so I can remember it. I'll probably make the fittings around it also this bronze color. I'm using rich leather for this, so 9429, not 9430. But yeah, just putting that there, and then when we put... I may as well grab my Asmodeus red and throw some red on that wire. Where is it? That's Urgathoa. That is not the correct red. Is it hiding up here somewhere? I always reach for this color, I swear, and I always misplace it. There it is. My new favorite red. If y'all haven't run out and bought Asmodeus red yet, you should. Just saying. David doesn't have to run out and buy it. He's already, can just reach across the desk. Yes, he can just reach across the desk and do what he did with my peacock green. And have it go that way. Easy one. Unproductive day? Good. Supposed to be on vacation. Oh no, that's terrible. That happened. Annoying your back is actually the worst of all of that. But I have totally had the I'm on a cruise and Ed calls me in the middle of the cruise because they need something in the paint department. I have totally... That happened. That was a happening last year. I don't take many true vacations. And, or didn't. When I was a proper, working for the man kind of employee. But yeah, it happens. Sorry about your back, though. I hate that. I get back pain pretty, just twinges for the most part because I do physical therapy exercises, and that helps it a lot. Oh, hey, Chew. I cannot pronounce the second half of you, Chew. So you're just going to be Chewy. Welcome, Chew. Chewy. We are painting commissars and chatting about back problems because, why not? We all have them as miniature painters, right? But, yeah, in general, I'm using some, I'm blocking in some of the warmer colors on the base now. The base is going to be, have snow all around it and probably a bit of snow on top of it. So I don't want to do a lot of work on the base until I see where that snow is going to be, where I figure out where I'm going to apply all that snow. But I can at least block in a couple of color accents, which really helps it not look quite so bland while I'm working on the rest of the model here. And then we're going to work on the NMM on the foot, the feet, and on the sword. Imladrasil. That rolls off the tongue. That's cool. Thanks for the follow. Sometimes people just have cool Twitch handles, and I'm all jealous. Because I'm branding, so I cannot have a cool Twitch handle. Imladrasil, but that's a really cool one. I like that one. Alrighty, just kind of getting in here. I like to be precise even in my base coats. Let me get on camera here. So I'm trying to hit this little wire. Little trailing wire coming out of this block. There. Wow. Yeah. Spousal retribution is a thing for sure. Calling during the honeymoon would indeed be a very, very bad form. Very bad form. I actually didn't have a honeymoon for my marriage. Not really. We just took our normal vacation that we had been taking. So we'll get that dark spot is hard to see, I know, on camera. So we will get off of that. Alright, so cool. We at least blocked in some of those spots I missed and spots that were annoying me. These are things that do need to be addressed. We don't want the paint to annoy Anne any more than necessary. And let's see here. I just want to make sure all my white is covered. I hate seeing little bits of white where I've missed a little bit of paint here and there. I like to have a nice solid thinned. This is a pretty thin base coat. I mean, you can see it's almost a wash, right? You can see how the bottom of the base here is kind of showing through it. I actually like that. That actually used to be my typical base coat. I just would leave it like that because I knew I was going to go in and highlight and shade it. So I knew that those areas would get covered over. Sometimes now I like a more solid base coat. I don't do the thin base coat like this quite as much. But yeah, if I know I'm going to put a lot of colors or a lot of highlights on it, I just tend to leave it. Hey, Coops, how's it going? Im rhymes with him, yeah. La. Imladrasil. Alternatively pronounced Dan. Got it, Dan. I don't know if I'll remember the Dan, but I will remember the Imladrasil. It's very singable. It's good. Oh, just finished up. Oh, medium rare ribeye steak. My favorite. David's favorite, too. Well, David's favorite, technically, fajitas is your favorite, isn't it? Hey, Scrying Eye. Thanks for the follow.
Fish tacos are pretty close.
Yeah, we're going to do fish tacos tonight. I love fish tacos. That's one of my top 3. Let's see here. I want to make sure this is all in focus. So let me get this under my hand, folks, and do a quick fix focus on her. There we go. Now she'll sit and be nice. Sit and be nicely in focus for you all. Although the nose of her gun is going to be out. And that reminds me, I need to drill that out. So maybe I'll put that on my to-do list tonight. I need to drill out the gun barrel. Not much. Just a little. never used to bother me when I was like actually playing the game. The thought of drilling out all of the gun barrels in my orc army would have made me just like roll over and stop. But now that I'm just doing them for commissions and here and there, although I have my Eldar army, but I have nobody to play with, having just moved, and with the game stores not being open to like, you know, gaming, I have no one to play with out here. And my Eldar force is pretty small anyway. I may paint some of them on stream though, because I actually really enjoy them. I've got a few Eldar Rangers that are kind of, I think they're neat models, even if they are fine crap from Forge World. Yeah, no, I didn't. I went not Gretchen on purpose, which means my orcs were not as effective as they could have been. But since they were orcs, I wasn't planning for them to be effective anyway. The point was to have an army I couldn't take seriously. This is kind of how I roll with Warhammer. I like to take an army that I can just have fun with and that I can make fun stories about. That I don't care if they lose. We have what was the little one? The Beastgrave. We got Beastgrave. And we haven't played it yet. But did you used to play 40K? I don't remember.
I played 40K in high school.
Oh, okay, in high school. So a long time ago.
And then I started playing War Machine and decided that it was a much better game.
Ah, yes. I did think about painting a War Machine model on here too. I've had one of the Ouroboros wolf guys for so long, and I really like him. And I would like to paint him up, so maybe he'll be an excuse to paint a Privateer Press model on stream. A lot of times I'm not a big fan of some of the Privateer stuff, but it's a little chunky for me. But I like this wolf guy, so. And I'm just into wolf guys in general. Alright, so we're going to make this whole thing kind of a bronze color. Heck yeah, War Machine, hooty hoot. Yeah, they have some fun ones. I don't remember what the Ouroboros guy I have. It's one of the named wolf models, wolf guy models, and he's just really cool. He's got some excellent details. He's got a shield that's really neat. So yeah, I mean, there are times when I don't mind just painting up a gaming model just because I think it's a cool model. I mean, obviously there's, for Games Workshop, there's Golden Demons painting competition, which, you know, eventually once Adepticon gets going again, we will most likely go to and compete in. But just other than that, I mean, I can always find a buyer for it. So it's when I see something and I just want to paint it, I might just do that. Rangers of Shadow Deep co-op narrative minis game. It's miniature agnostic, huh? So you can use anything. Rangers of Shadow Deep. Interesting. Thanks, Trash. I know there are a few of those rule sets out there where people are just making up the rule set and say just use any minis because they don't want to put out. That's not the point, right? You do have several wolves that you started and didn't finish. You like your Crix back. Crix is what I used to have when I actually thought at first about getting into Privateer Press, into War Machine. Crix is the aesthetic that I liked the best. But I do like, that was before Hordes came out, and then the Wolf Guys came out, and I was like, well. But then I was kind of, the game never got me because it seemed like you really had to have a very large knowledge base of not only your own army, but what other people might play against you. Like, you really had to have kind of a knowledge of everybody's forces to be effective. And I was like, arg, too much work at that point because I was just getting so busy. I just pretty much just started at Reaper, and I was like, decided that I had many other things I needed to do. There we go. All right, got a nice bronze pipe down there. That helps. These nice warm accents down here are helping to carry the eye around the whole figure. That's sweet. Ah, thanks, Hootie. Yeah. I finished the black on her leather, on her boots last night, and really like it. So, Pile of Minis never play the game camp. D. Killerman. I actually was playing 40K before I left Texas until COVID hit. We had a gang at Reaper who played. Because just because it's Reaper Miniatures doesn't mean that, we didn't have a lot of Warhammer fans working there. I need a little bit of a darker shadow here. And I need... Nope. Yes. Okay. I think everybody's having a pretty good day. I'm having a pretty good day. Kiri actually let me mostly sleep last night. I have an elderly dog, Hootie, and she keeps me up sometimes, so Sometimes if I look tired, I am tired. But yeah, Kiri only got me up once last night, so. Oh, and she's still sleeping in the bedroom. That's funny. I left her sleeping in the bedroom, and usually when we go into the computer room, she gets all excited because then she can hang out with David and I and sleep on her favorite blanket. But she appears to have conked out thoroughly in the bedroom and has not yet figured out that I'm no longer in there. Oh, super scrying eye, thank you. Yeah, I hadn't quite gotten. Actually, this morning, Kiri had a Kiri emergency, and so I had to. I got disrupted and haven't checked my Gmail or my Discord yet, so that's got to be later after this, probably. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoy it. I will send you a welcome message if I did not already. If you joined last night, then I probably didn't see your email. But yeah, you'll get a welcome message, and you'll get a chance to ask for specific content if you want. Yeah, exactly. Cricks are unique unto aesthetic. I agree, Zero. That's why I like them. Circle. Yeah. Ouroboros. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, you can enjoy just painting them, and then you've got it, right? The thing is, if you already got a playable force, then awesome. Then if you do meet people who play, then you're ready. Ah. Oh, good. Yes. That's very simple. The wolf fur setup is very simple, but actually it's what I do on my Ouroboros too. Except that instead of picking out the fur clumps that are already sculpted on the model. Oh, Kiri has emerged. Hello, Pop. Did you notice I left you? It's all good. She comes in with this, oh, mama, look on her face. You're a good girl. Settle down. You be happy. And I need to put this back on. It's really warm here in California today. Or I should say it's warm and it's humid, so it feels warm. Up in Northern California. But, yeah. But yeah, so on the wolf, I still set it up all with wet blends appropriately, with over the muscle masses and everything. And then I'll thin the paint down and I'll just do some fur, like, strokes, like, kind of freehand the fur, just, like, kind of, like, make little fur marks. And make my brush strokes go the direction the fur would grow. I should do that. I should probably maybe do the Ouroboros model specifically to show you guys that, because I do it on Wolfen, Confrontation Wolfen, and I do it on that. And any animal that's smooth sculpted but should be furry, like some of the lion sculpts you'll see are mostly flat and just have fur, around the neck and the featherings on the legs and stuff. It's a technique that I do to suggest fur texture on anything that's smooth, that's sculpted flat, that should be furry. So it's more advanced fur texture, but it's not hard. Once you get the knack, once you see how to do it, it's a little more advanced than just obviously following the fur that's sculpted. So, boy, this the top of this being white is really throwing off my colors. Let me see. Maybe I just want to hold her by the base. Yeah, that's a little better. You guys can see the colors a little better. When you got a model, and a lot of Games Workshop models, at least the ones I tend to paint, seem to go dark. When you've got a model with so much dark on it, and then you throw that white cap of that holder on there, then it gets it can really skew the way it looks. Maybe I have a small block. I do have a small block. I try to always use a miniatures holder, although with the plastic bases, it's perfectly legal just to hold these, and I used to paint like this all the time. But lately, I've gotten used to having something. So I'll just get out my little tiny wooden block from Hobby Lobby and get my green or my poster putty all stretched out and put her on that. And that should be good enough to hold for now. And it won't skew the colors. I should probably just spray the top of that pill bottle black or gray. That's actually a good idea. All right, there we are. Press down and we're good. Awesome. Fantastic. Let's see here. Oh, building your first couple of GW sets with no intention of playing, just because you like them. Yeah, I could totally see that with the ghosts, especially Mathophile, especially if you ever play D&D, just because that allows you to, you have a lot of fodder. You could run a whole undead adventure with that army.
Yeah, GW do excellent models. I totally feel David where he says he buys a lot of boxes of minis that come with extra cardboard, paper, and dice.
Yes. But it's worse when you buy a board game for that reason.
I think that's what it means.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I gave a lot of my Eldar away to one of my paint club regulars in Texas before I moved because he was a young, Ethan was a teenager and teenagers have no money and Ethan had no money, but he loved Games Workshop. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to move all this stuff. I mean, some of it, I had a bunch of stuff and it was all in boxes still. And I'm just like, somebody else will love this more than me probably and get more use out of it. So paint clubbers made out like bandits before I left pretty much. But I did keep like the core of my Eldar, like the stuff that I'd opened and started to play with, or a couple of pieces that I really liked and that I knew I wanted to paint, or that I knew I wanted in the army. I think I kept a box of Wraith Guard. I kept my Wraith Knight because I have a huge conversion in mind for him. Stuff like that I kept. I'm kind of debating putting getting the rivets here, like it looks like metal on top that she's got her foot up on, and I'm tempted to go bronze with it also, because everything under it looks like that concrete metal plastic, like those hybrid fake sci-fi metals they're always making up that are like concrete plus plastic plus metal plus whatever. So yeah, I like this one too, Abel. Actually, it's part of why I got to paint it on this commission was that the person in question knew that I liked it. She's a good sculpt. And I like that she doesn't have the boob guard. She's got a regular breastplate. Which makes it a little harder to see that she's a female, but that's okay. If you are playing the character, then you know. Yeah, I think I'm going to make this border up here also inlaid in bronze here. Because I like having some more warm accents on this base. Some more color. So it's not all gray. It's very boring when you've got an all gray base. I tend to figure out colors I can sneak into it, or, do this sort of thing where I make accents in a different color of metal. There we go. That's a little better. I can play with that later. All right. Let's do these shoes and the sword. Yeah, Durasteel. Transparent aluminum. Yeah, all these things, right? But I think this really looks like stone to me. Like, it just really does, especially the way it's broken on the front. So I'm going to paint it probably as stone, do this more like a concrete, darker concrete, and then do some metal here and there. Like this eagle will probably also be gold. Like it's a brass eagle or bronze eagle that's laid into the concrete. So why don't we just block that in so I don't forget. Plus, half of this stuff looks like it's ruined or meant to be ruined, and so you just never know what anything's supposed to be. So you just get to interpret it. Nothing is wrong. Yeah, I just want to have it female Imperial Guards, right? Exactly. Yeah, I mean, they're trying. They're now trying to put more female models in, and not just in the Eldar. Although I will admit that is one of the reasons that I went for Eldar. But they're doing better. They're doing better these days. GW in general, as a company, I feel is starting to become more benevolent and less evil. Maybe they just want me to think that. But yeah, I actually like a lot of the Age of Sigmar stuff because fantasy has always been my genre. But there are a lot of pretty sharp 40k models, and this is one of the recent ones that I really like. But I was thinking, you had me thinking about this Mathophile when you posted your undead guys, Age of Sigmar guys on the Discord. I like their black coach. I like the undead. There's like a coach isn't there a black coach that like floats, that's like floating over a graveyard? I really like that piece. I almost chose it as my Golden Demon model. I'm still thinking about getting it at some point just to paint it. Yeah, I'm thinking about buying that one just to paint it. Because it just looks fun. It just looks so fun. And I'm just like thinking, what can I do to that? I think I could have a good time with it. There's a couple of characters for that Undead Army too that I like. There's one of their big guys on the Undead Horse that I really think looks like fun. I thought about maybe getting him for Golden Demon, and then realized that the only unfortunate thing about Undead is that it somewhat limits you as far as um, color concepts and things like that. Especially when GW really likes you to play to the fluff. So in the painting competition even. So I decided to go for something I could be more colorful with. But I still kind of really want to paint that. So maybe someday. One of these days. Maybe I'll get it and paint it on stream. Can tell myself that's my excuse. It's like, oh, I would like to paint a Games Workshop model. I think I will buy this one I have been lusting after. No, I have, I talked about this before, Trash. I've got, one of the Griff Riders from Stormcast Eternals, but I'm using, instead of the rider, I'm converting it over to take one of the guys on the Drakes, so the mages. Because I looked them up in the Codex, and you can have a mage on a Griff. You don't have to have one on a Drake. So I decided I would convert it, because I really liked the looks and the faces and the armor and the staffs and staves and just pretty much all sorts of things about the Drake Riders more than I liked the Griff Rider guy. So I decided I would go with that, and I'm really looking forward. I think I'm using some peacock type colors on the Griff. We'll see. No Sugar Skull Skeleton Army. They used to, Zuo, but I don't know. The new one seems much more spectral. Didn't go the box art route, Matt? Yeah. Yeah, there's some cool... When you get to the big Games Workshop stuff, I mean, it's expensive, but some of those big models are really cool. They just look so much fun. They're just pricey, so it's like... Whether it's worth it to you is just dependent on how much you like the mini. Alright, there we go. So now we've got a gold eagle or a bronze eagle and a bronze pipe set up, so we can get that going on in a little bit. And now I swear I'm going to do some NMM because I promised I would. I'm putting it off because of this silly sword, so I may as well do the sword first. Alright, so the underside of a sword is annoying, right? Because normally you factor your NMM based on where the light is coming from, right? So you've got, your light coming from the top, and then you can figure out where your shadows are, and you can generally, figure it out. But when it's the underside of a blade, most of the light you're dealing with is bouncing back up from the environment here. And sadly, almost everything down here is really dark. So there's not a lot. Like, I'll probably end up highlighting the underside of the blade and mostly making the light sourcing, like, up here on the upper part. So... Oh, there's a mix in there, Mathaval. Yeah, I wasn't sure about that either. Alright. So, yeah. So, this underlying part of the blade. That and I do want to clean up this sword out here a little bit, too. I feel like I didn't quite blend as well as I could have blended here. Blending from dark to light is, since you're working from pretty much black to pure white with NMM, it can be the hardest part. And so sometimes I'll just paint smooth, thin layers of paint over the area and kind of glaze to bring them more in a nice blend from the dark to the light. I do think, let's see here, I'm going to do the underside of the blade here. Just taking a look at how it all shakes out here. Alright, let's mix the light gray. I don't want to put blue in this. I'm trying to figure out what I would put in. Normally, when you're doing a reflection on the underside for NMM, you want to put a bit of the environment in. I might put just a little bit of this brown in from the bronze, because we've got some of that all over here. You want to usually use just a little bit of some other color in your gray so that it doesn't read too flat. It's very easy to get very illustrative looking with your steel NMM, where it really looks like a black and white picture and it doesn't really look right, like it's not really right for the environment. So mixing a little bit of a different color in is a good idea. I might get very close for this. Let's see here. How close can we get? We can get very close. We do need to, no, I think that's pretty sharp. Yeah, I think she's pretty much in focus. Yeah, all right. You guys can see all my brush strokes now. You know, I have to blow up the figure to the size of your monitor so you can see all the brush strokes. See all my flaws? Happily, when you're looking at the model in the hand, you don't really see the flaws. But since my camera can go this high res, I was mixing up a highlight here.
Those are extremely long purity seals.
It is, isn't it? Like, and she's got a scarf hanging from her waist that normally would probably be stepped on, which I just don't get it. And the bottom of her thing, I think, also would probably be stepped on. But, oh well. But yes, that is a very long purity seal. The ribbons are quite extensive. Alrighty, let's see here. I want to bring up the lower edge of the sword. And sadly, we have this kind of like bevel thing because the sword is thick. So we've got kind of an edge here that we have to disguise. It's a little bit rough. You know, the edge should not be super thick like this, obviously, in the real world. This is just a casting artifact, or, you know, we need to actually have this cast in the mold kind of thing, so need to make the blade thicker than it would otherwise be. But I can at least disguise a bit of that edge. And I do a lot of wet blending, just like kind of spot wet blending on steel NMM and silver NMM. Because it's the easiest way to get that blend from white to gray, and then I'll do another spot blend from gray to black or gray to near black when I'm doing the doing all the blending. So right now I'm working in a shadow here because we've got the leg reflection here, so it probably would have one just on the bottom there, and then we got to bring it up on this side. There are times when NMM kind of breaks down and on surfaces like that are unrealistic, like the fact that this blade, like if it was real, would be how many inches thick, you know, just because if we scaled it up without cause for correction, sometimes you just get into that thing where you've got to just paint it and not worry about it too much, like the underside there. Just got to get it to look right when I start highlighting here. What do we got? Fun, happy necromancer. Now I'm frightened, Miss Dimp, that you watch my show on a 65-inch TV. Like, you can see every brush stroke, every imperfection.
All of the compression artifacts from Twitch.
Yeah, all the compression artifacts. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, you really can see what I'm doing. That is true. You can absolutely get a bird's eye view, an insect's eye view in this case, of how I'm laying down the paint, for sure. And if that helps you, go for it. But you can see that I'm wet blending a bit here now because I'm blending this white in. So what I have is I have a really thin mixture of cloudy gray from Reaper Master Series paint, which is my go-to for NMM. You guys will read all about it in the $5 PDF I'm about to release. And then I've got my thinned down pure white. And so I'm laying down a little bit of this thinned down pure white, and I'm feathering into it with this thinned down cloudy gray and wet blending it. And because I'm using very thin paint, I find that it blends a little bit better. All right, I need to put some dark in this though, because this is definitely the underside. And you can do this. I mean, a lot of people don't like they want a thicker paint because they want it for wet blending. But I actually like I find I have more success if I lay down a good base coat and then I can use thinned paint to wet blend. I think it's easier. But, you know, mileage may vary as always with miniature painting, but I find it easier.
Probably also depends on the humidity.
Yeah, it is very humid today, but we also have the AC kind of sucking the humidity out of the air, so... But yeah, in really arid climates, wet blending is a pain in the butt. I have tried to do it in Santa Fe, which I visit a lot, or used to visit a lot, for business, and it was very frustrating when it was dry in Santa Fe.
I personally find that if I'm using very thin paint,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the edge will dry very quickly and give you that ring effect,
Hmm.
even when you're trying to blend that. Whereas with thicker paint, it doesn't do that quite as fast.
I bet that's a comparison between our brush strokes that makes the difference. Because I've never had that happen. Maybe it's that I'm putting down such a thin layer, like I'm almost layering it on. So there we get it, starting to get the shine,
it's
guys.
It's definitely a bigger problem with two brush blending,
yeah,
or feathering compared to if it's actually wet into wet, because usually the other color of paint will disguise that if it's wet into wet.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I've just always had more success doing thin coats of wet blending over the top, unless I've got too much paint on my brush, then it's all out. Miss Nymph, that's reassuring that there are relatively few flaws even on a 65-inch TV. Just as a kind of a little fun thing, you guys, I used to, when I was trying to get better, one of the things I would do is to take photographs of my miniatures and blow them up really big on my monitor. It's a horrible thing to do to yourself, but it definitely shows you like where to improve. And I essentially was happy with a paint job when I could not see like artifacts, brushstrokes. Like if I couldn't see any obvious brushstrokes, then I was happy. So I just kept working on my blending until I didn't have to worry about that anymore. All right, so we've got that nice dark shadow there. You've got at least a bit of reflected light coming up from environment. And there is going to be snow around on the ground, so there is going to be a fair amount of reflected light. I got a little brown mixed in there. I think I'm going to grab a little more of that and just kind of put a little bit of it right here. Even adding a tiny bit, a tiny flash of another color can help the gray not look too monochrome. It is going to be, I mean, it's steel. It's going to reflect stuff. It shouldn't just be black and white. You can do just a tiny bit of it if you want. Don't have to do a lot. Blend, blend, blend. Blend, blend, blend. Alrighty, so the bottom edge of the sword is not bad. Oh, Albuquerque, yep. Yeah, Xanacles, yep. Just down the road. David and I flew into Albuquerque when we went to Santa Fe. Not long ago. Seems like forever ago, doesn't it, David?
That was like one of the last weeks before travel just completely shut down.
Yeah, before travel died. Yep. Yeah, because on the plane back, there was a couple next to me who were freaking out and disinfecting their seat and their tray table and everything. And everybody else on the plane was like looking at them. I think it was February? Early February? I think?
Yeah, mid-February.
Like Valentine's Day, was it? I thought it was before or after V-Day. But
I think it was after Valentine's Day.
Oh, maybe it was the end of February then. But yeah, but everybody else on the plane was looking at them like, what are you doing? Because it just wasn't like big yet. Like it hadn't really hit yet. And I was just looking at them thinking, if there's disease on this plane, I don't think disinfecting your tray table is going to help. But that was just me and my pessimistic attitude. But yeah, it's dry out there, and it can be a real punishment when you're trying to wet blend. Like, I'd almost, if I was living in Santa Fe or Albuquerque or that area, the high desert, or out in Arizona, I think that I might buy a humidifier for my painting room and just keep it running. Because I think that would be likely to take some of that frustration level out.
It was actually March.
Oh, was it March?
Yeah, we
wow.
flew back March 7th.
Wow. Oh, yeah, now I remember. Yeah, so pretty late. And then, then the next month, I moved out here to California to be with David. And by then, it was in full swing. So driving out during the pandemic was...
Yeah, I was originally going to fly to Texas to drive back with you. And we ended up changing that plan.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting. See, where I lived in Wisconsin, there was always too much dang humidity. Scrying eye. But the climate may have shifted a little bit. You know, it's been a while. I grew up in Wisconsin, but it's been a long time since I lived there after 17 years working for Reaper in Texas, and now I'm out here. But yeah, I went to college in Madison, and it was pretty swampy. Could be pretty swampy in the summer. Yeah, but yeah. If you have a dehumidifier, that would. Oh, I see what you're saying. Of course, you have a dehumidifier in your basement because you need one because it's a swamp in Wisconsin. Yes, Madison does have high humidity. Yeah, it does. Very swampy.
Well, in the summer. In the winter,
Yeah.
it's very dry.
Oh yeah, well because it's negative 40, which is why I don't live there anymore.
So that's an interesting experience. You have to do completely different techniques in winter and summer.
Yeah, fun. All right, so I'm going to put a bit of a shadow back here on the blade opposite my highlight. And the purpose of that is that when you layer a highlight next to a shadow, you get more of a shiny effect easier. And the sharper you bring up your white against that dark shadow, the more shiny the blade will appear. So I'm going to take a little bit of my white and just try to get a little bit of a spot highlight in here that's a little brighter. Right up against that. And my paint's gotten a little bit thick. So I may have to do some thinning and blending to get that to work. Make sure I'm in here, yep. I'm using my big brush, you'll notice, for this. Not a little brush. And it still has a fine enough tip to work. But there we go. Now see how that brings up a shiny? Now it looks shiny. It looks like the light is catching it now. That's what we want. But part of the reason I use the big brush, and I talked about this a bit on the stream the other day, I think, for Reaper, is that when you rinse out your brush, I just squeeze the water out of mine usually. So there's still a lot of fluid left in this brush. You can see it kind of shimmer on the brush there, right? So that fluid is going to sit back there, and it's not enough to thin my paint appreciably more. But it is going to help keep the paint wet in the brush. And it's something that I didn't consciously do, but once I realized I was doing it, I realized it's become like kind of a core of my painting, weirdly. Oh, that's a blob. Like, it's not an out-of-place blob, but it definitely needs help here. There we go. But yeah, having some moisture in the brush means that it's not like dry and then has paint. Like if your brush is dry and then you dip it in the paint, you've got that dry area there that, you know, the paint up against that area is going to start to dry out. Whereas if you've got a little bit of dampness in your brush, then it's going to keep that paint from drying out, and it can keep your paint viable in your brush for longer. Oh gosh, Florida. Painting in Florida. I can't even think about it. Last time I was there, it was very moist. And it was springtime, I think, when I went out to see my godfather. It was a good trip. But, oh, I need thinner paint. Thinner paint. Oh, hey, Scurvy Chef. I don't know. Scurvy Chef, I don't know if I'd have you cook anything for me. Unless that just means that you don't use vegetables. Like, everybody, your cooking is good, but everybody gets scurvy because they're not getting the vitamin C. But whatever the case, welcome. I don't know what's Paint GW. I actually work for Reaper Miniatures, but I'm working on a commission, and I wanted to get some progress on her because she's getting dangerously close to done. So I figured I would.
Very close to done.
Yeah, I mean, she's really, once we get this the NMM plates done on her boots, and I've got to do a little bit on the other side of the gun, and then then it's just mostly basing. I need to do that line of gold on the underside of her cape to match the box art. And I want to pick up this upper edge of the sword too. Like, the light would definitely be falling off of this, so use the side of your brush and just gently get it. Hey Nikara, nice to meet you. Welcome. We are doing some commission painting today on a Games Workshop model. Female Commissar, who I am quite fond of, actually.
You need to paint the hole in the boulder.
Oh, around the hole, you mean? Yeah. And I need to...
No,
I need to drill it. I'm going to drill it.
Okay.
I'm going to drill it and just shallow. Yeah, well, I'm still going to put black in it, but I'm not going to drill it way deep in there, but I am going to...
I'm surprised you drill after painting.
I just forgot. It's been so long since I did. It's been so long since I did a 40K model. Yeah, well, right, because I'm painting a lot of fantasy all the time, and they don't have guns.
Dwarves.
Yeah, I don't, but I haven't been painting dwarves with guns. The thing is that Ron, the art director for Reaper Miniatures, does not believe guns belong in fantasy, and so Ron is, I think, has been subliminally influencing all of the dwarvishness in Reaper for a long time to not have dwarves with guns.
I like that dwarves kind of bring steampunk into every setting.
Into fantasy, yeah, into every setting. True.
I like steampunk, so if steampunk just gets introduced by the dwarves, I'm happy with that.
Yes, you like steampunk and you cannot lie. Oh, from France. Awesome. Awesome, Nakara. Sweet. Yeah. Yeah, I work for Reaper Miniatures, but I do commissions from other companies, and so today we are commissaring. And then, yeah, I don't know. Tomorrow, I don't know. I tend to stream on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and maybe Thursdays if I'm not tired. But today we're doing non-metallic metal, so I was just highlighting the underside of the sword here to make it look shiny. I'm going to actually put another little highlight down near the handle. Got to kind of get around this. This is where the call of actually gluing this arm on may come to bite me, just because it probably would have been easier to paint this if I would have left it off, but I have a bad habit of forgetting the position of the blade relative to the light source. So I'm like, no, I'm going to glue it on. I'm going to be able to paint this. Yes, bonjour. Bonjour. I used to take French badly. My pronunciation was never good, but I at least learned the vocabulary pretty okay. It's been years, though. I keep wanting to go to France, though. I've been telling David that we need to go to France because the food, among other things, and the art. So if we do, I'll go brush up on my French before we go.
Did I ever tell you about the time that I went to France for a conference? And I was staying at a youth hostel near Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. And, of course, I walked to Notre Dame and to see it, and it was great. But between the place I was staying and Notre Dame, there was this game store.
Oh, no.
And I walked by it, and I looked in the window, and I was like, holy crap, I can recognize a bunch of Jeremy Bonamontable's Demon Winners in this display case.
In the case, yep. That's funny. So, Jeremy strikes. That's funny.
I thought that was so cool.
Yeah. Well, he must have lived somewhere around there, like, or known the guy who had the store.
Yeah, I'm sure he knew the guy who had the store.
And they asked if they could display them. Yeah. Which is totally cool. All right, so we've got some shinies going on here. Shinies. Much shinies. Yeah, that's okay. I need to bring it up a little bit. Wine and food. Yeah, yeah. Well, I've never been, even though I took French in high school, because I did want to go. I was always an artsy person. I just never got around to it. And then for years I didn't have a passport. But now I have a passport again. I'm super excited. So the minute that the virus manages to release its stranglehold on the travel industry, I'm there, man. And I was so disappointed that Miniatures World Expo got canceled in the Netherlands. I really was looking forward to that. So hopefully next year we can get in some shows.
I hope they'll have another. They'll do it again before waiting 3 years. Normally they do it every 3 years, but hopefully we won't have to wait that long.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get over to Europe, and some of you guys have some of the best miniature shows over there as far as painting competitions and such. So I have been itching to go. So we'll get over there someday. All right, so we've got a little bit of light now at the bottom of the sword. It looks a little better. It should have light down there because there's light bouncing off the pommel here. As you can see it's lighter, so we would want to highlight there. So I think I'm pretty happy with the underside of that sword now. It looks shiny enough. It is the underside of the sword, and you don't really see it in a lot of angles. You see it from the front, though, so that's important. So there. So yeah, that's pretty good, actually. Pretty shiny. All right, let's do feet. So I blocked in the highlights on this foot the other day. And when you're going across on like a rounded metal plate like this, you're pretty much painting a cylinder. And when light goes down a cylinder, like on my brush here, you can see that it goes down in a pretty straight line. It's going to get deformed here and there if there's different shapes along the length of the metal. So, you've got a couple of different shapes down here. But in general, it's going to kind of dance down in more or less a line. And then it's going to spread out here and there if there's flatter area, or at the edges sometimes. So that's why we've got a little bit of a spread along the toe and where each plate meets another one. And I'll adjust that as I go. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Then down here, this highlight on the bottom edge is showing that light is reflecting back up, because I'm going to put snow down here because that's what the client has for his army basing. And that snow is highly reflective. I mean, it's white. It's going to bounce light everywhere. So there's definitely going to be like light bouncing back up at the bottom here of this metal plate from the snow. So that's why you've got that under reflection, as I call it. And it's a key point of making something look like metal. So cons won't be back till 2022, you think, Trash? Yeah. You could be right. Well, in which case, we have lots of time to paint cool new competition entries, right? All right, I'm going to use a light gray to kind of block in the same sort of thing over here. Let's see, gotta make sure I'm underneath the, so we gotta kind of get the top of this plate. I usually do kind of a dash at the top and the bottom. And then I kind of do a series of nicks, and a little bit irregular. Because, these may be really dinged up boots. She's obviously wearing them to battles and everything. So my line isn't perfectly straight, although it's mostly so, and it can be a little bit irregular. And that's just fine. I'm going to grab a little bit more of this gray. I often will block something in the lighter gray first, and then I'll go up to pure white. On silver and steel NMM, you always want your highlights to go up to pure white to get that shiny look. Yeah, virtual competitions are just difficult because it's so easy. It's hard to take a good photo. The people who can take the best photos automatically have an advantage, and it's also easy to disguise flaws with good photography. So that's where you run into it. I mean, I did participate in a couple of online competitions back in the day. But yeah, nowadays it's hard. That's why I like the competitions like Crystal Brush, where there's a sizable online voting part to it, always had the models photoed on site by the competition administrators, and that way there could be no kind of shifting that way. You always knew that you were on the same ground. I wouldn't even necessarily call it cheating. It's just like, people will be like, oh, that's a great photo, it makes it look great, and it's not really the point to make the model look great. The point is to make the model look like it looks in person. But when you're in a competition, you're not thinking that way. So you're just trying to show your model, make your model look as good as you can get it.
Yes, the people who are trying to make the model look like it does in person lose to the people who make it look great.
Yeah, exactly. This one doesn't have as much blue, actually, Trash, because I figured overcast a day because snow. What I used instead is I'm using a bit of brown here and there in the shadows, like from her costume here, and I want to use a little bit. I think I used a little bit of blue here, but I used a real subtle blue. I was using, hey, Giggling Geekette. Oh, hosting. Thank you. Thanks for the host. Thank you, thank you. I have about a half hour left. So yeah, this is what I'm using, actually. Trash. I was, instead of going with a blue mixed into my gray this time, I was actually using some Moonstone blue mixed into the highlights, so it's real subtle. And then using some browns. I'll probably bring in a little bit of red or something up here. Just a tad. I mean, it's hard, right? Because you could bring it in because it would probably be there. But the client might be like, why is there pink in her armor? It's all that. So I have a certain amount of leeway. Yeah, finding a good hotel to hold conventions can be difficult. I witnessed this firsthand at Reaper. Like, you think you have a good relationship, but then the contract changes and suddenly you can't afford it, and then you have to rush around looking for a new hotel or a new convention center. It just can be very, very difficult. We were really happy when the Denton Convention Center was built for ReaperCon. We wanted a good convention center, a local convention center that wasn't a con hotel, just a con hotel, for a very long time. So Reaper really campaigned to get that hotel built, that con center and hotel built. But sadly, ReaperCon is virtual this year, but at least ReaperCon is virtual this year. And that's coming up, guys. That's 2 weeks, David? 2 weeks to ReaperCon?
Yeah,
July 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
That doesn't sound
Or
right.
something. Or
September?
3rd through 6th? September, sorry. Yeah, sorry. September.
Yeah, that's
whatever month it is. Sorry, I'm painting, thinking, and talking at the same time.
Yeah. It's still March 160th, right?
Yeah, right. But yeah, so ReaperCon's coming up. Class kits and classes and stuff are up online. This is a great time to actually, quote-unquote, attend a ReaperCon if you are not anywhere near Texas. Since, you know, everything is free and the classes are all going to be online. So we don't really have a cap on how many people can take each class. So yeah, go over to reaperconlive.com, I think is the website. I am teaching and I'm also streaming. I'm teaching Thursday afternoon here in the US and streaming on Friday at my usual time, guys. We will have our Reaper Pro Tips during ReaperCon. Unless some mean painter comes in and wants that time slot, then I might get kicked. We'll hope not, though. Oh, you got your package with your class supplies today, Carmen. Awesome. Awesome. Or yesterday, yeah. Good. Yeah, Reaper's been pretty active. I mean, since the start of the pandemic, Ed and Dave were really good about splitting everything into multiple shifts and trying to make sure there was social distancing and essentially ensuring that Reaper could keep operating during the pandemic. I think we had to let a few people go, but not many. I don't know that for sure, though, because I wasn't on site starting in April. We did work from home for a couple weeks there in April while everything was getting ironed out. There, I'll get that little bit of highlight on there to make it reflective. We are making progress here on the boots. Now, we don't have a shadow yet, and we do need a shadow because, remember, it's that dark and light right next to each other that makes things look shiny. So, let's see here. Oh, yeah, I canceled all the cons. Yep. Maybe next year, Trash. Besides, the pack tortoise is so sad, although he's a tortoise, so I guess you're not discriminating against him. You're just discriminating against actual turtles. Like the dragon turtle would take strong exception to that class. So let's get some dark in here. Let's get a nice dark color. I'm going to mix a little brown into it. Ah, that's maybe too much brown. There we go. That's nice. It's dark. And now I gotta thin it down a lot because I don't want to make big bad brush strokes. So that means thinning it about 1:1 ish, something around that. Thinning it quite thinly. Thin. Yeah, that. And we want it pretty close to black, but I usually like it a little bit thinner than straight up. So now let's see here, where's our light sourcing? Our light sourcing is mostly falling right down the front of the figure. So it's hitting the top of things and likely the inside more than, let's see here. Got some shadows. Yeah, I think if I'm going one way or the other stylistically on this shoe, I think I'm going to have to go with highlights on the inside. That makes more sense in a way, although it kind of doesn't make more sense. Yeah, I guess it does. Sure, why not? We'll go with that. Highlights on the inside. So lighter on the inside. Let's see what we can do. We might end up going equally dark. So we want our dark right up against our light here. I need to make sure that this is a nice tight point for this. There we are. So I'm going to do the same crossways stroke. And I'm going to put this shadow in right up next to the highlight. And I don't want too much, so I'm just kind of dabbing it in there. Because I want to keep the steel color out here. And then we're going to come over here. Gesundheit. So those dark patches will help to make things look shinier, especially as I bring in old hairy white guys. I am not an old hairy white guy, thank you. Several of those descriptive terms do not fit. Actually, it's hard to say that at all. I would take issue with Mr. Frey just because, at least in miniature painting in the United States, it's close to a 50-50 split, women and men. So maybe gaming is not, but in painting, we have equity. We're equitable. Oh, the ones who went to HMGS, I see. That makes sense. They might be more applicable than HMGS. That might be more applicable to that audience. Since I still remember the first Chicago show that Jennifer and I went to compete at, where we walked in and there was a lady behind the counter and she asked if we were there with our husbands. And we said, no, we're here to enter the show. And she's like, really? Because she'd never had, like, women, especially youngish women, walk in to the Chicago MMSI at that time. You know, it just wasn't, you didn't see women at the show. So, yeah, Historical Miniature Gaming Society, right? HMGS? Yeah, they, oh, okay. The RPG room was pretty close to 50-50. Yeah, that's what I would expect. Yeah, but it was funny. But it also is like, it shows that, I don't know, I always encourage like hobbies and things to like open yourself up to as many different people as you can, because that's what keeps you going. You get into trouble when you decide you don't want young people or you don't want women. That's when hobbies really get into trouble.
If you decide you don't want young people, then your hobby is definitely going to die when all of the old people die.
Yeah. And that's there's a real danger with that with some of the historical circles. I think some have probably done better than others.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like fantasy is actually serving to bring young people to historical, because occasionally, you know, you'll paint a Viking or I'll paint an old Roman dude.
Yeah. I like some historical models, yeah, absolutely. And I like Vikings. We all know that. Yeah, that's good, Liquid Nebula. That's how we got where we are. Like, that's how we got my white got. Okay, my white got really broad here, guys, and it's way too much, so I'm going to have to knock it back. But, I mean, that's how we got to this point in the miniature painting world of having so many women, is that myself and Jen and Sue and Noelle and, you know, a bunch of people, Liliana, you know, a bunch of women went out, Marika, Jess, you know, you just keep going, right? A bunch of women went out and got, you know, and made a name for themselves in it. And a lot of us tried very hard to encourage women when we saw them trying painting, right? And so what you have now is, like, in this country, you have 50% of the painters are women, which is insane. When you look at Europe, like whenever we have one of the European painters over, I ask them about women in the hobby in their country, and most of the time the answer I get is they really aren't in it. And I think maybe that there's just been a lack of like female spokesperson stuff over there. I'm not certain, but it's really striking, the difference. Like several people have remarked upon it in the past. Jeremy was pretty like flabbergasted that we had so many women in the hobby over here.
I think people underestimate to what extent, you know, people either see something being you know, whether it's a hobby or an occupation or whatever, being dominated by only one gender and think, oh, well, that occupation is just for that gender.
Right.
And so I think a lot of people just lose interest even if they would otherwise be interested in it. If they're a man and they see that almost everybody doing that is a woman or vice versa,
yep,
that automatically decreases their interest, even if it's something that, you know, if they tried it, they would find it really appealing.
Yeah, it's like, I remember when I was younger, there were like no male nurses. Like now you see male nurses, you know, a lot more often, But, like, it was just, like, not a thing that guys ever went in for, right? And not because they wouldn't enjoy it, but just because it was a female-dominated field at that point. It might still be, I'm not certain. And I'm sure, like, your field has a lot more men in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you're, into computer algorithms and stuff like that. So, IT. Alrighty, that's a little bit correcting that then. Yeah, Madison has always been really good scrying. I mean, I lived in Madison for almost 10 years, and it was always a very inclusive environment. I mean, obviously I was a female gamer in Madison, so. As was Suachowski. So two Golden Demon winning miniature painters who went to UW-Madison.
Do you have more blue in the other blacks?
In the other, like, you mean, do I have more blue in the, like, the leather? Yeah, I do, and you're...
That's not leather, the tops of her...
No, it's, yeah, like, the tops of her feet are actually plates. Yeah, they're metal.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wanted more gray there.
Now it makes sense that they're more gray.
Right, yeah. More steel instead of the bluish black leather was being more... Yeah, I used the Moonstone more for highlights in that. I probably should bring more Moonstone in there, but...
Yeah, I might add more lights. Just to make it look more different from the...
Commission!
Yeah. Okay.
It's like, I might do this and then the other thing that will add another hour of work onto this model. It's like, how much am I getting paid for this again? Oh, dear. But yes, point taken. And yeah, maybe we will. Yeah, Lori saw it. Everybody was welcome. Exactly, Scrying Eye. It helps when you've got a female game store owner, right? Which already by itself is probably a rarity in the United States. But yeah. Yeah, Miss Dimp. Well, once you decide you're not going to care about what anybody else thinks, and you just want to do the hobbies you want to do, then it's pretty easy. Once you start that first one and enjoy it, then it's like, who cares? Who cares if this hobby is mostly for guys? I grew up being a tomboy, so I didn't really care either way. I just wanted to, like, do stuff I thought was cool. I did definitely go through a period of that's for girls, and I had no interest in it. Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah. It's a couple. The one who actually runs the store is the wife. Yeah, that's great. I think we see that more often now. I think that, especially, again, in the US, I mean, a lot of women got into RPGs around the time that I was going to college was when, like, Vampire the Masquerade came out for, and I saw a lot more women. Like, the first Gen Con I ever went to was easily, like, one woman for 50 guys. And since that time, it's really shifted. So it's great to see. It's great to see. Yeah, my mom was really good at sewing, and she always wanted to teach me Miss Dimp, and I was always like, no way. And now I'm kind of sad because now I could see where it would be useful, and I actually might enjoy it. My brother is the one. My brother is the one who learned to sew, mostly because he's really tall, and he's like, I want to hem my own pants, damn it. So that was really funny. That of the two children, it was the male child who got taught to sew. Just putting in more shadows here, just adjusting. A lot of NMM is just futzing, like back and forth, back and forth. A little bit of shadows, make that stuff stand out. I'm more or less happy with this one. I need a little more under reflection. Oh, yeah, no bet. I bet, right? Yeah, it was really... I bet you were really a rarity. I think that's a lot like Paris, George R. R. Martin's wife. She was one of the only women at a lot of the early science fiction conventions that she went to. I think that's how they met. I think she met Gurmit at a convention. Or at least had become a fan and started going to conventions. I don't remember. But yeah, definitely weren't a lot of women at that time. Especially with sci-fi being so, as writers even, pretty male-dominated in those early years. Ah, yeah, you and I are close to the same age then, Miss Tim. Although, I think I'm just a little bit younger. Yeah, I guess I have to think. Years are hard. Right. Yeah, for sure. It's just, I think it's good business. It's the more people you can include, the more audience you potentially have. There we go. Just gotta tighten this up a little bit. Got a little fudgy on the highlights. It's looking okay, though. Looking okay. Still a little broad down here. Like, I fuzzed it out a little bit on this top one. You see I made the highlight a little bit softer. I like it better than this one down here now. So I think I've got to fuzz that out a little bit with a little bit of cloudy gray. A lot of this is just adjustment, just real fine adjustment. And anybody can do this. Like, if you find that you're kind of scared of trying non-metallic metals, and just do this. Lay down your base, lay down your highlight, try to figure out where the shadow is, and then futz with it until you look at it and go, oh, that looks, kind of shiny, and let yourself just experiment. Yep. And then, Anne McCaffrey came along, unabashedly Anne McCaffrey, but she was writing about dragons, so they could all kind of discount her a little bit. Until she became, like, a super science fiction bestseller. Well, and then you have C.J. Cherryh, who's one of my favorite authors, who's very much science fiction and psychological sci-fi, space opera. She's been writing for forever. I don't remember when Down Below Station came out, but I thought it was the late 60s. Yeah, then you saw a little bit more inroads here and there. Let's see here. All right, I've softened that a little bit. I want to bring in my highlight a little bit more. A little bit sharper there on the toe. There we go. That's starting to look good. Let's see here. What time is it? Okay, it's almost time to start wrapping up. But I've managed to get a fair amount of work done. Like, I really just have to go and, like, touch up the silver NMM on the back of the gun here. And then we're pretty good. We just need to do the gold NMM on the bottom here and do that kind of stripe that's on the underside of the cape. So, yes, dangerously close to being complete.
How are you going to do this now?
I usually use Woodland Scenics. I have some really fine snow, but it's kind of dangerous to work with. Like, you've got to use a ventilation mask on it. I'm betting that my client is using Woodland Scenics because I repackaged Woodland Scenics is what most game companies put out as their snow stuff. I'll ask my client how he's doing it and see if he has a preference, though, because he might be using more of a paste. I don't know if he's using fluffy stuff or paste. I need to determine that. Since it's a commission, I'll definitely try to match his army. Oh no, you're late. Image of a trail. Yes, you are. I know I've got maybe 5. Using actual snow is great if they keep their army in the freezer trash, but it's otherwise not a great... plus,
Also, shipping might be a pain.
Yes, and actual snow is out of scale. I'm sorry, you can't use it. Alright, I need one more spot highlight at the top of that area right there. See what I'm doing? I'm putting little spots. Just like I put that little bit of pure white flash there on the sword blade, I'm doing tiny little pops of white down the vertical line to pick up the light and make it look shinier. See? Like so. Now they look very shiny indeed. Oh, color shift. Too much skin equals shifting blue. All right, I'm actually liking this. Yeah. Those are looking pretty good. Excellent. Super. Wow, we've come so far. She's looking shiny. Look at how shiny she is. Yeah. I mean, soon to be covered in orc blood, I'm sure, but, or chaos blood. Shipped in dry ice. I would be afraid that the paint would just crack right off. Like, there's just so much you can do to acrylic latex paint, temperature-wise. I mean, you can get it hot and it's no problem, but I don't know, cold?
Is cold still a problem once it's,
I would think that the problem is that the plastic becomes very brittle in the cold, and I am not certain. I don't know. I'd have to put a mini in the freezer and then see if it got more fragile.
I think it's important that
we experiment with this.
Give Trash his idea the dew.
The dew consideration. Make actual snow. Well, you were using the microplaner for pineapple, so I guess you could use it for ice and make some snow. It's not real snow. You don't have a snow machine, David. Sorry.
We could go to the
mountains, get some actual snow, use it for basing.
But again, commission.
Yes, but again, commission. Right, exactly. So yeah, there she's looking pretty snaztastic, guys. I'm pretty happy about this. Yeah, so now just doing that little bit of embroidery on the red and getting the base more or less popped up and do the metal on the base. I may work on her again tomorrow if I feel like it, or we'll move over to something else. But yeah. Alrighty, it is time to take the dog out, which is very important because old dog definitely needs her frequent outs. But I hope you enjoyed hanging out, and like my mini, that she's coming along really nicely, I think.
Yeah, she was looking great.
Shiny.
Very shiny.
Very shiny. I like shiny. I don't get to... That's the thing. On fantasy models, I don't get to do shiny very often. Not like super shiny. But on science fiction models, where I can go patent leather and, synthetic fabrics and lots of metal, and then it's fun. Then it's super fun. And so I have actually a couple of busts that are science fiction busts. Oh, that's a Kiri noise. Is that a comment? Yeah, she's like, ugh, I ate a piece of fuzz, Mom. I think it's time to take the dog outside. All right, guys. Thank you very much for coming along and spending the time with me. And thank you for, I got at least one sub this stream, so that's awesome. I'm working toward kind of a sub goal since I'm not sure how many we have, but I have to check. But we did get a new emote slot for that sub, so that's awesome. But yeah, we should get some new emotes within the next couple days. I should have some emotes up for you guys for the channel subs and some emotes, some Kiri emotes, the dog emotes that we need, the happy Kiri and then the oh no Kiri. So yeah, good night to those of you. Happy supper for those of you who are going to eat supper, and we will see you tomorrow. Reaper Miniatures Twitch at 11:30 a.m. Central, or you can see me here around the same old time as today. Have a good one, guys.